Hi,
Hello,
Sam. Always
everyone.
great to see you. Good morning from Singapore
Hello.
and good evening to you guys.
I know.
Yes.
Look at your background. Where are you
I
at
know,
today?
I know. I am actually at the gym. I'll take everyone on a grand tour a little bit later if we have time. But
Of
at the
course.
gym here since 6 a.m. So it's been a crush the morning, man. So crush the morning
That's
from 6 to
amazing.
10 now in Singapore time, and then now after this session, ready for whew,
So
training
everything's
session.
back, like with kind of the pandemic kind of thing, or
Yeah. Everything
okay,
is
cool.
everything's kind of open right now, so which is nice. So yeah,
Awesome.
that's hence the new backdrop versus the boring old white.
All good,
Mhm.
all good. You're the star of the show anyway, so it doesn't matter what the
Yeah.
background
You
is.
can
We
take a
all
screen capture or something and then put on a
yeah,
white wall, right? You could buy green screen, you have anything there.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Feels
true.
feels feels
Yeah.
good to be out.
Awesome, awesome. No, so today, the theme kind of was brought up was about trust, and Luke was kind enough to bring up the theme, and we're kind of chatting behind the scenes before the start of the stream. Luke had a really good segue and kind of a point to make, I think, through trust. Kind of lead us where you'd like to. I think,
Sure,
yeah.
sure. I think the reason why the topic I brought up was honesty and trust is partly because of a personal thing. Like as you know, like I have two children, and Emily and I are working parents. And the thing is that our relationship is great, but in terms of sexuality, in terms of connectedness, it's out because we're just constantly moving around as parents.
Yeah.
And I think for me it was just being honest with it, say, hey, we do actually have a problem. We although we are in the same house, we talk to each other, but it's not the kind of relationship that I would like to have down the
Mm,
track. It's
mhm.
I think it's just about opening that door, and she agrees as well. And moving forwards,
Awesome.
I'm open to counsel, just, you know, like a relationship counselor, just to see how we
Yeah.
can bring things back together. And I think we've chatted about this many a time, and we
Mhm.
are extremely open about it. And of course, I'm open about it, sharing with you here, and that prompted this topic today about
For
being
sure.
honest with myself that hey, there is something here, and maybe let's work together to see how we can possibly move towards a common goal. So I think nothing is
100%.
yeah I think it all starts with at least from my point of view is being aware, knowing, acknowledging that there is potentially things could be better. I won't say there's a problem, but things could be better, but
Mm,
then focusing on how we can make it better. How about you
100%.
guys? What's your experience with the trust or honesty?
Andre, I'll
Oh
let you go
yeah.
first.
I mean, oh, it's a tough journey for me. I grew up not trusting anybody. I didn't trust myself.
Yeah, yeah.
Being in my head all the time and just that relationship I had with my parents, I just kept things from them because I couldn't trust them. I felt like I wasn't safe. If I were to
Mm,
share something, I would be judged.
okay.
Um, Especially sharing like what I spent on. Like
Mm,
there's a lot of shame around money,
okay.
and I would be ashamed if I bought something at full price or if I went out to eat. Why not just eat at home?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So I kept that to myself, and that hurt my ability to trust myself and other people because I was never vulnerable, and I
Yeah, yeah,
kept
yeah.
it there. So my journey to trust to begin with was to really break through that by being in a safe environment that allowed me to share my thoughts, right? To show me this other side of the world. Wait a minute, there's actually people that don't really want to judge me and create space for me to be vulnerable because they're also leading the way. That started to reshape myself and then allowed me to kind of talk out loud, connect my thoughts, and then begin to trust myself because I started listening to myself, my voice within myself, instead of just being distracted and numbing. And to add
Mm,
on to the point that Luke was talking about in terms of like relationships, man, that was the worst because I didn't know how to communicate my needs. I would assume, right? I would be
yeah,
passive aggressive. I didn't have anything to model that before, though I've since broken through that. And
amazing.
one way is to share my intent. So let's
Yeah.
say I was dating or something, and um, I would communicate the expectation because I automatically, if I were to kiss someone or run the bases, right?
Yeah.
What are we? Would be the question, right? And it'll be weird because then one person is expecting that we're exclusive and one person is like, no, we're open relationship, right? Or
Yeah.
even the simple thought of paying for dinner, right? Going back to
Mm.
the opposite sex. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Right. And then there's
Yeah.
one experience that like I paid for dinner or I offered to, and then she's like, she felt weird. I can feel the energy shift. And then she actually offered to say, no, I'll pay half. And I resisted a bit because I wanted to pay it.
Yeah.
Though
Yeah.
I'm practicing it, right? I'm like, wait a minute, this is an opportunity for her to give. So yeah, sure, go ahead.
Yeah. Nice.
So though she's mature enough
Hmm.
to open up the conversation afterwards,
Yes.
and we
Yes.
communicated where she thought that me by paying, what does that mean? And
Mm.
it brought back some old things, meaning like, I don't want to owe you. Does this mean that we're like something more than
Yeah.
just
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever it is?
Yeah.
And my intention for paying was really to show my appreciation for all that she's
Who they
given me.
are. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
If
Yeah.
only I communicate that before, which
Mm.
requires some trusting, right? Of
Yeah.
openness and communicating that. So that was a huge learning lesson for me.
No, that's a great point to segue. I don't know if you're done yet, Andre. Didn't mean to cut through, but your inflection in how you spoke was was good. So I was like, oh, that's a good ending. But anyways, um, I think that's the thing. Expectation probably is what people go into any sort of communication with to start off with. And what happens is we try to use the expectation to almost establish trust in ourselves first. I think that's my perspective at least. And for me, I've always thrown trust quite easily. I trust people really quickly, really easily. Been hurt multiple times before too, in terms of like relationships, in terms of business dealings and partnerships. Hello, Alka.
Hey,
Welcome,
Alka.
welcome everyone. By the way, share freely your comments. Everyone can read now, so be respectful too. Don't go all in tangents, but love everyone that's joining the conversation, and we'll touch on all the topics that you guys want to. Today's topic is about trust. We kind of jumped, in my perspective, I started with expectation of communication. Like what you said, Andre, I think that is really true. If you can establish the expectation going into a communication or a conversation, like,
Mm,
yo, let me take this meal today because I really want to just say that I appreciate you,
Mm.
and then the end won't be as awkward. It'll be like, ooh, should I pay or not? I really want to pay, and this is nothing more than I appreciate. It sounds bad from like after the fact, but if you set that tone initially, I find it's really good. And same thing with how I deal with my clients too. It's right from my initial client meeting is very much so of establishing what the expectation is between the relationship. And I think that if we have clarity in that, even with our personal or intimate relationships, I think it'll be a lot easier and won't get awkward when things are happening, because it's all within the expectations that's been set. I find with the intimate relationships, for me especially, sometimes we're too comfortable that we let things slide. Like with me and my wife, same thing. We've been together since this is a long time, '05. So this is like 17 years now. And we've obviously grown super comfortable with each other after having a baby. Even the bond has become stronger. But this intimacy side, I find, when people talk about marriage, it's always like, sex is less. You don't get as, close to each other anymore. And of course, as men, like this is something we crave and we want and need, right? And sometimes that's a thing where people say that because of this, they look externally and not focus on trying to create between like you and the person that you've chosen, to be with. So yeah, this I'm still not exploring in terms of relationship, but exploring in terms of understanding what this intimate relationship is like. I find it a lot easier with business and friendship because I can set
Sure.
boundaries really clearly. And I think we talked about boundaries before too. And it's this thing about trust, like where does a line cut off? And it's like this trust, expectation, boundaries, kind of a like all of those things kind of go together. And it's really complex. Trust, I think, is the hardest one, even though I teach it right now of how to establish trust like through your first impression. And and your own branding kind of a thing. And after you establish that trust, how do you maintain it? And what kind
Mm.
of trust is it also is very different, right? Like, you and your wife, you and your friends, you and a colleague, you and a stranger.
Wow,
These are
yeah.
all very, very different levels, right? So, no, great
Yeah, and
topic today, Luke.
you and yourself, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That's
indeed.
a big, the biggest one. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I
And it
agree.
starts there, doesn't it? You don't trust yourself, it just permeates to the rest of the interactions and experiences that you have as well. Trust your own judgment,
Yeah.
trust your own decisions, trust your own beliefs in that sense,
Yes.
because a lot of times our beliefs sometimes may not serve us, and as a
Hundred
result, it
percent.
forms a filter of how we view the world, and we may, in essence, through our beliefs, attract what we don't want more
Yeah.
of in our lives as well. So I think sometimes self-reflection and self-inflection, I think, is very, very key. And yeah, very,
Mm.
very good
And what would
point.
you say, like for you, like yeah, Luke and Romy, when you
Mhm.
start building trust in yourself? I mean, I feel like it starts there within here because it's not.
Mm,
It's kind of like patchwork, right? Where for me, it
yeah.
was patchwork.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That
100%.
trust other people. I seem like I put trust in other people first in myself,
Yeah.
and then I was burnt, right?
Mm.
Though look at the inwards to begin there first. What would you say to help develop trust within you?
Results. I
Mm,
think establishing and developing results. Hence, we talk about atomic habits, getting
Mm.
like really, really micronizing, like making things small so that you can achieve results quick, so that you can trust yourself that when I do something, a result that was expected will happen. If I clean the top of the table of my desk, I'll have a clearer mindset. Let's say that was the establishment. Okay, I'll clean this table. I'll just move it to the other one. At least this table's clean, just to start off with. But then from there, I can trust myself now that I can complete something, and that's a very, very powerful thing, like waking up in the morning at a certain time. I think that's a very good point to start. Let's say you usually wake up, some people wake up at 9 a.m., for example. See if we can shift it just half an hour earlier, or even
mm,
15 minutes. Let's say I wake up 8:45 instead, and trust yourself to start establishing these quick small goals, and then the results will drive trust between you and your own mind. Because if you can't even establish that point, like what you do is a certain result you can get, then it gets really, really tough. Just answering some of the questions here too. Let me see. I went through. Yeah, some people went through like challenges too, like domestic violence and stuff too. And trust. I think yeah, like what to establish trust in yourself is a great first step. And then how to establish that trust is start simple, keep things easy, get a result so that you can trust yourself. Once we trust ourselves,
mm,
we know we don't depend on others to know the truth. Oh yeah, sorry,
mm,
Andre. That's my perspective.
yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of where I started in terms of like self trust. Yeah.
Yeah, like I find that when I follow through on myself, then my self-esteem and confidence goes up because I can
Yes.
trust myself to do it the next time. Though if I
Yes.
don't, like especially with my word or the accountability with myself, and I beat myself up, it's kind of like spiraling downwards, right? And then
Yeah.
my self-worth, my ability to feel like I'm capable,
Yeah.
uh, really just exacerbates from that. Yeah. So just following through on those small wins, right? And
Yes.
then
Yes.
picking
Yes.
myself up.
Celebrate and
Mm,
celebrate them too, right? Like I
confidence.
find that was another topic that I was talking about with my mentees in terms of I'm talking about, oh, what are your wins for the week? We always do this kind of review, and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, it's something really small, or it's like, I don't know if I have any wins. But I was like, anything that you've achieved or completed, or anything small, if you know how to celebrate even the small things, I think your life will just it'll turn positive a lot quicker. Rather
Mm,
than because we naturally as humans, like I was reading on some report, we naturally as humans think negatively because we want to protect ourselves.
yeah.
Let's say we know when we were cavemen, we do wake up in the morning. We don't, go out and be like, "Oh, look at the rainbow! Oh, look at the grass and this big vast field." It's more like like what animal is going to kill me? So it's more like from that perspective, we always generally veer towards negativity. And then the other point too is like because we veer towards this negativity, we have to start rewiring our brains to be like first of all, don't complain. Like stop complaining about things is a great first step to jump into the positive kind of wiring. Yeah,
Mm,
and then from there you start establishing those like mini goals. Too hard. I really think sometimes people when they set goals, it's like gigantic, and then they don't achieve it. And then, like you said, Andre, you kind of go down this,
Yeah.
negative downward spiral. And so, um,
Yeah. I find this latest comment here is pretty cool because,
yeah,
yeah, like I rebuild my trust again through who I am, not through who I do. We are
yeah,
much more valid within our achievements. Absolutely. Because
100%.
for me, one of my biggest saboteurs is being a high achiever. And then my
Hmm.
Mm.
self worth is now attached to a piece of paper, to attach to
Yeah.
compliments and awards and recognition, which is outside of myself, right? Though I
Right.
found
Mm.
that it was an evolution to eventually be detached from that because it
Mm,
was a start, right? Because I didn't know who I was when I was younger.
yeah.
So I used that to build up my confidence. And eventually, after a while, hmm, there's enough experience, enough
Yes.
body of
Yes.
work to know, this is who I am. I'm not tying my work to this anymore, right?
Yes.
I'm tying to my character, who I am. Yeah, so I get that. I felt like
Awesome.
that comment there was an evolution of my trust. It changed.
Yes. So it shifts for sure. There's definitely a growth, right? And cool. Alka saying self trust to me means staying true to my core
Mm.
values. Of course,
Yeah.
I think principles and core values are always a good place to follow.
Yeah.
Luke, for I guess for yourself,
Sure.
how do you establish like the trust in thyself? Speaking
Yeah.
good
I
English.
like I like what Alka shared. Definitely
Yeah.
core values is key, but also before core values is awareness to a certain degree. Because if I'm not trusting myself, I'm not trusting the decisions or the experience that I'm in right now. Is just being aware of what pattern. At the end of it, what patterns am I kind of falling into? Because there may be something there may be a lesson that I'm not learning, and I keep
Mm,
falling into the same pattern. It's just shining a light on, okay, why do I keep doing the same thing? Why do I keep meeting this kind of person? Why do I
mm,
keep attracting this kind of energy into my life? So taking a step back and looking at that, okay, why is that the case, rather than falling into it. So bringing awareness to the particular situation, emotion, or environment, and then maybe it could be a relationship, it could
yes.
be a living environment, it could be childhood memory or childhood
Yeah.
trauma, shedding a light on it versus just kind of disassociating with it. And that's kind of what I did to really find out what the issue was in my past. And the issue was I just wasn't happy, and that was
Mm,
kind of top level kind of emotion. I'm just not happy. But why am I not happy? Okay, because I don't feel like I'm happy in my relationship. Okay, why am I not happy in my relationship? And it came down to fundamental issue with my ex-partner was I don't love my partner. I don't love her anymore. But I'm
mm,
feeling obligated to be in this relationship. And because I feel obligated to be in this relationship, I'm doing things. I'm living a double life to a certain degree,
mm,
living a double life. So I think for me, it was just taking ownership, shedding light, taking ownership of the hard truths. What
yeah.
I'm trying to run away from, facing it, and then making a decision to kind of change the path, because it went against my core values. For me, it's about integrity, it's about ethics, it's about being honest, it's about trusting myself and others, and I was not doing any of that. It
Uh,
was going against my core values as well. I was just so conflicted,
yeah.
and it made just going down all the way down made me realize that, hey, it's not them out there, it's what I need to learn and what I need to do right now to change the path, to change the course, so that I live in congruence with my values, which I feel finally, after 10, 12 years after depression, I'm finally living in alignment with my core values, and
Mm,
being authentic to who I am, what I speak about. And it's a great place to be, but it took me a while to get to this point, to live in congruence
Yeah.
with what I truly value, and also be able to set boundaries around me, so that I know, if those boundaries are crossed, I know this is
yeah.
kind of no zone. I know where, and so I think really boundaries,
Mm,
awareness, and and I would say just committing to growth, if I could put it quite simply.
yeah.
Mm.
No, awesome. Well put. And I think a lot of people had the same questions, and you answered as you kind of spoke, so which is great. It's like, why is that
Mm.
happening? And then you also believe that there is something to be changed
Mm.
and the wound to be healed.
Mm.
Totally agree with the comments.
Agree.
And yeah, I always come back to like I'm learning this now too. It's like we are not our thoughts basically. Like our thoughts are traveling a million miles an hour sometimes, and sometimes it's not moving at all. So
Mm,
there's like it's very extreme for me at least, and it's like okay, now I kind of look at it like a, a library. I'm like, okay,
mm,
there are these thoughts, things. Become the observer, like we keep talking about,
Mm, mm,
and be kind of objective about things, and
mm,
start pulling what actually can benefit you, and allow you to shine. I think because we have both the negative, but also the positive side,
mm,
and it's up to you to kind of filter out what you can use to your advantage, because it does take that one second,
mm,
and that one
mm.
thought to like shift your whole mindset to something
mm,
greater, right? And I think trust in thyself and yourself can be a lot more controllable because it's up to you. The
mm,
trust establishment of you and your environment, that's where it gets very complex, because people and everyone are in different mindsets, different
Yeah,
situations, right? And
yeah. I was
communication
realizing
is key. Yeah.
key. Yeah, because
Yeah.
like trusting myself, like, when I
Mm.
started coming into this world
Yeah.
was hard. I didn't know where to
Mm.
look, right? I didn't have that
Mm.
model. So it's easier to
Yeah.
put my trust in other people. However,
Mm.
it hurts more with other people.
100%.
Yeah,
When I
100%.
when
Yeah.
I go on this journey on my own, just like Luke, I didn't know like my core values or my character.
Yeah.
I needed to have that experience to figure out, oh, this is who I am. And now I can
Yeah.
set boundaries for myself and other people. So that's time. Though it's easy to do that inner work. I can just be by
Yeah.
myself alone and be like
Yep.
talking to myself and safe. It's safe.
Yeah. It's
No,
100% safe.
to trust someone else, to put my heart on the line and be like, it's gonna be broken. Or to take that risk in that business partnership, like, are we in
Yeah.
alignment? And that's why we have these contracts, right? That's why we have
Mm,
these NDAs and lawyers involved.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
the trust of the handshake, and we still doubt.
yeah,
And what that is,
Yeah.
like culturally, is like, oh, we lost that handshake. So it's scary.
yeah.
And that's the
For
thing.
sure.
It's more like I think those agreements, like my one of my close friend Brian, he's a lawyer, and told me about kind of it's more about a disagreement rather than an agreement. That's what the agreements I basically say. When we disagree, we come back to this contract to follow. And I think that it's a parallel to any of the relationships that we set, with colleagues, friends, and even our intimate relationships that we have with our significant other. It's like this contract, an invisible one that you've kind of
Oh,
set. And the thing is, the clearer it becomes, the easier the boundaries are seen, and the easier you can make each other flourish within that
mm,
relationship, right? Through the trust. Very good point, Andre. I think that contract, yeah,
And,
it's even though it might not be a piece of paper, but it's like
yeah,
it has to be there. It's there.
yeah.
Right?
It has to be communicated.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
definitely.
No
And
assumptions. I think someone comment there
and
like
just
it's better to know than
yeah.
assume.
And just to add to that as well, that made me think of one of the topics that I talked about a while back. Can you guys hear me? Am I kind of still in connected?
Maybe try the AirPods for this one. I think they probably have
Okay.
some background music coming up. No problem, no
All
problem.
right.
We'll
Sweet.
we'll we'll
Sweet.
hold
2 seconds.
space while you're going, so no problem. Um, and I think Andre, you have a lot of great connects that are coming in from LinkedIn too. I think there
Mm.
might be in the future there might be a setting that you can turn on so that we can see their profile names so that we can refer to them. But we're
Yeah.
getting yeah, no problem, no problem. This is a
No.
mild tech issue. If you do want to share your name, that's cool too. But would love to connect with you guys. And yeah, this is great. I love the comments, the feedback. Luke,
Sweet. Yeah.
hey,
Am I
sound
back?
beautiful,
Am I back?
sexy,
Sweet. All right.
sexy.
Yes, we're
Deep
done.
voice. Go for it.
Yeah, as I was just saying, that really made me think of, about trust and what you shared, Andre. It's really the difference between expectations and agreements and trusting other people. The thing about, when we put trust in other people, we have expectations of them. And of course, expectations are never met. People do not like
Mm,
or look forward to living up to expectations. People rebel against expectations. Expectations are often not met. Expectations allow the blame to be placed on others. And then what ends up happening, we just feel like, oh, goodness, um I can't trust this person. But really,
yeah.
you had expectations of this arrangement, and that's why it's important to just
Yes.
rather than expect someone to have an agreement, maybe have an agreement between two people, a silent agreement. I mean, it's hard to say have an agreement with your partner or people you love, but have a conversation, like, hey, I really don't like you leaving the dishes every single time in the sink. Why
Shit,
is that?
that happens.
Something like
Me
that.
too.
Actually, opening up rather than I, if only she always, if only she washes the dishes, and then I've been washing the dishes for the past 6 months. All
Yeah,
right,
just
you didn't
explode
do jack shit, and
through
you
all the
explode.
plate. Totally, totally. No, I
So
totally
what's
feel what you're saying. Yeah.
so what's this resistance then? What do you think is the fear behind communicating the expectations versus assuming?
Inconvenience. I truly believe
Mm,
is the inconveniencing of others that people are shy about.
mm,
And for me, like in sales, I learned early on in my career, it's like, how do you inconvenience others in the most convenient way or most comfortable way, most tactful way, basically?
mm,
Because it is, you're trying to share your perspective to someone else that may not know about it, may not care about it, might actually don't want it. So it's like, how can you tactfully share that concept? But even in intimate
mm,
relationships where we just want, yeah, exactly, fear of being rejected and judged. Yeah, and because you are inconveniencing them,
mm,
it's, they have to go out of their way to hear you out when you're communicating. You don't know if it's the value of what you're sharing, is it worth that inconvenience? And sometimes it is way beyond that inconvenience, and they're like, wow, this is amazing, and suddenly
mm,
you vibe really well with that new friend that you made, or a beautiful lady that you, or a beautiful man that you got to have a new relationship with. So it's really, I always find it worth inconveniencing. That's why I'm really
mm,
extroverted. I just speak my
mm,
mind. And if you have a problem with me, I'm like, it was worth the risk, but maybe we can't be friends
mm,
after. So, but the
mm,
people that
mm,
actually, hear me out and are excited with my openness about how I communicate, naturally we have the strong bond. And between us, I think that's what
mm,
happened. Where when I first met Andre, when I first met Luke, this was like, we saw each other's light, kind of a thing, and be like, okay, we can grasp onto that, and we vibe really well. We didn't even have to establish a contract or boundaries, because we already understand, like, oh, we're open enough that our boundaries are, quite relaxed, because we're open about communicating and just creating this friendship, right? So, but yeah, that fear of being rejected and judged, I think, is a great point that was made. That
Mhm.
I don't know, it's like, you almost can't, you have to start by being willing to be fearful, or have the courage
mm,
Mm.
to reach out, because in the
mm,
long run, if you don't, like you said about the dishwashing thing, yeah, it can explode and
mm,
plates can fly on faces,
mm.
right? So it's like, and it's something really simple like that can ruin a whole relation, like a whole marriage even,
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
yeah,
communication's not there,
yeah,
right? So
definitely.
Right. It doesn't happen day
And
one.
I
It's day 100, right? Of
yeah,
the series
or
of
like
things
day
that you
indeed,
want to
1,000.
do.
100's
Yeah.
probably okay. Yeah, but
indeed,
yeah, day 100, that's 3 months. Yeah. But sorry, Luke, go ahead. Yeah.
yeah. And I think this the whole aspect of what you just shared about fear of being judged, fear of offending someone. One of the people that it's funny, I look up to this person in a different way.
Yeah.
Tiger King. You know, he is just so unapologetically and
Which one again? Tiger King, Tiger
un
King. Oh my
yes,
god. That's awesome.
that's not
Yeah,
not
yeah,
not
100%.
not on what he does, but I think he's just
Yeah.
on. He just is what he feels. He does not give a rat's ass about anyone,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and not many people have the guts, or even
Yeah.
to a certain degree, out leaders as well. They believe in something so much that it becomes them, and they attract people into their cult or their
Mm.
tribe or whatever you want
Yeah,
them
yeah,
what.
yeah.
And I look up to these people. It's like, my goodness, it's just the self belief. Of course, it could go either way. It could go, start. You could start a course. You can rally people together to help a developing community. Alternatively, you can create a mass grave. It's. But
Yeah,
the thing
yeah.
is that what I look up to people like that, it's the amount of, you know, I don't care. So I think
Yeah.
it's a matter of finding that balance, and it comes back down to your core values. And so what do you value? Do you value humanity? Do you value what is how do you view ethics? For me, I'm into animal welfare, sustainable living. So I think that forms a filter on how. So I think it comes back down to core values as well, what we shared earlier,
Mm.
and
Mm.
belief. And that's why I like the whole
Mm.
kind of chakra system where it's all about speaking your truth, being connected with your heart, being rooted to the ground, and then at the same time being connected to the source,
Yeah.
God, universe, and to be able to live in alignment. And that's how I look at living in alignment all the way through from the earth to the heavens. And I think it takes work to get to that point of alignment. It takes awareness, but it just takes constant, digging, peeling off the
Yeah.
layers to find out who you truly are.
Yeah, that's a great point about the values there, Luke. Because
Mm,
yeah, we'll always have the fear of being judged and rejected.
mm,
Though the question
mm,
is, what's going to feed it so that I can get over that fear and do it anyways, right? And
mm,
some
Yeah.
people,
mm,
they don't give a rat's ass, right?
Yeah.
They're
There's
just
so.
that's their character, their
no,
beingness.
yeah,
They just say
yeah,
whatever's on their mind. Though a lot of us, I myself included, are not like that. Though
right.
over time, when I discover what my values are, who I am as a person, what my character, what my identity is, and my why,
Hmm.
and if I remind myself of that, then it's worth standing up for. Then it's
Yeah. Yeah.
worth
Mm,
Yeah.
inconveniencing that person and risking
mm,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
being judged
I
and,
agree.
and, and being invalidated, right?
mm,
Because I
100%.
know
mm,
what I represent and stand for. Yeah.
Yeah, I think your why, the purpose,
mm,
has to be
mm,
super clear. Like, what is your
mm,
why? It might not be one, it's probably not gonna be just one thing, right? Like you as a character, you as a being, how you interact with your environment, with yourself. Know kind of how you can shine the best. Like that takes discovery, takes
mm,
time. I think, Luke, when you talked about, just the methods of connecting basically with, the chakra and stuff
mm,
like that, it's an amazing system, and it
mm.
takes work. Like where you're at,
Yeah, of
where we're
course.
at right now in our own life stages, it took a lot of journeying and going really high and then really low, and then hopefully we're
Mm,
on the uptrend right now. But there's
mm,
these like dynamics that we go through in life that we eventually learn that if our purpose and our reason for being and our mission is clear, we're willing
mm,
to share that thought to anybody that
mm,
cares. Basically, if they don't, then we just keep moving
mm.
on. But I've basically been
Definitely.
able to enroll and influence people that I know can be on my side and support my journey. And
Mm,
you minimize kind of that downtrend and the fear of things, because it's like as you build yourself, yeah, your fears and challenges start growing, bigger, because you can handle more. But the thing is, like, you need a new kind of a support system and a new mindset to kind of shift, because you're going to plateau a little bit, grow, and then plateau a bit and grow.
Mhm.
Sometimes you're lucky enough
mm,
you get a mentor that can push you to like extreme heights, and then you grow a lot. But
mm,
then your challenge is like, how we like when we give ourselves challenges and kind of those crucibles that you're talking about too, Luke, where it's
mm,
like so huge, the challenge is so
mm,
huge that you're like, holy shit, and I don't even know if how to approach this even. But you give it a try, and then sometimes you do accomplish it, and you're like, holy crap, this is
mm,
really life changing, right? And then you shift kind of this whole mindset into this new phase, and the trust that you
mm,
establish in yourself
mm,
is huge in that um, now because you trust the way you communicate your message out can start really capturing people's attention, and they start
Mhm.
trusting you naturally,
Right.
right? So
Yeah.
go
And
mm,
going
on.
back to Luke,
Yeah.
why? It's an alignment. It's congruent to
Yeah.
you, and people can
Exactly.
feel that,
mm,
and that's why they're pulled to that
mm,
because that's
mm,
trust, right? You're
Yes.
feeling it
Yes.
because you know
Yes.
when someone's not trustworthy. You know when someone has a
Yeah.
secret agenda or
mm,
strings attached.
Oh yeah.
But when you're so clear on what you are and what you present, that's why
Yes.
those people pull people
mm,
because they're so congruent with themselves.
Yes.
mm,
And to the point just now that came up, I don't know if it's still Nadia, but the only way to overcome fear is doing what you're afraid of. That's I think part of the action part. I think coming in from an abundance perspective, like fear, I find is always a lack. Like you're coming from a lack.
Mm,
You know, people are going to take from me. I don't have enough. I'm not good enough. It's always that perspective. That's why you're scared to shine outwards. Whereas if you like on the flip side, which is love and abundance, if you know you have something
mm,
to share and to give, and you got too much to give, basically, like you got so much that you can give freely, you don't even worry about it. Imagine you had a billion dollars and you can help a bunch of
mm,
people. Like I'd be giving way more too, especially the people in need. Coming from that perspective, in terms of what you can offer to your environment and even to yourself, you know, you're full and happy constantly.
mm,
Naturally, people will gravitate towards you because they feel safe around you. There's nothing that is not enough. You know, you're
Mm.
very happy and present with everything. I think that joy that you have in yourself and being
Yeah.
present. Yeah.
There's a
Otherwise, you're
feeling
always living in the future or the past. I
yeah,
find people
mm,
that are in lack.
mm,
Yeah.
yeah. There's a feeling of like there's it's unconditional, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
mm,
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's no reason of having to be happy, right? My core values, my
mm.
mission, my vision was a lot of work and led me
Mm,
to where I am. Yes,
absolutely.
100% Alka.
Right.
Amazing,
Totally. Yeah,
amazing.
totally.
And
Mm.
No,
it's,
so
And then
and
so
it's great that
awesome.
you
uh,
define.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Go ahead.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh
sorry.
no, I was just
No,
saying
no,
it's
no.
great that you defined that. All right, we'll jump in again.
Go ahead, Luke.
That's all good.
Go. Luke, it's
No,
all
no.
you.
All right, see, all right. All I just wanted to say was, I mean, it's great, Alka. You defined that your why qualities, because many people don't actually take the time to even do that and
Mm,
open that and just kind of live congruence of their, what they truly feel, and because they don't even know what they want. In order to live the life that you want, you need to firstly know exactly firstly, not what you don't want more of don't want in your life, to start there, and then focus on
yeah.
what you want more of your life. And many people live a life that they don't want to live because they don't take the time to actually explore what they don't want in their life. But I think sometimes it just takes, like you, El. I mean, it's amazing that you took that time to do so, because I've taken the time to do so. And no doubt you, Romy, and Andre, to focus on, what kind of life you want to live, what kind of impact you want to
Mm,
make, what kind of difference
100%.
you want to make. And I think purpose is, it could be a big or hairy, audacious goal, like you want to solve world hunger. Alternatively, it could be your children, but it's about something, someone else, a
Mm.
cause, versus making more money.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
I think
100%.
that's key.
Yeah, yeah, totally, totally. I totally agree in the sense of like it does take time to fill your bank, I guess, like for
Mm,
your journeying and your experiences and stuff before like knowing what you want usually is a
mm,
start, right? It's like, oh, I want this,
mm,
I want this, I want. You gather all this
mm,
stuff, tons of berries, some meat, some grass, things
mm,
like that, and then after you're like, crap, I have all this shit in my bag, and you're like, what do I actually need? And then you go through this kind of a purge and filter of like, okay, I do like the berries, and then maybe I'll take some meat over here, and then you have this really refined set of your ideals of what you want in your life and how you want to live. And anything that's
mm,
not that is not in, you set that boundary so that nothing will come
mm,
in that is not that core value
mm,
of who you are
mm,
and who you want to be. And life becomes so much more efficient, I think, and effective, that
Mm.
you can just establish
mm,
of that's, what's coming in right now is not my core. I'm not gonna,
mm,
I might entertain it in the sense of, being
Mm.
open in perspective, but I'm very
mm,
clear on what I want in my life now, right? So,
Right. Going
I find
from
that's
saying
right.
yes to saying no.
Yeah, 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 exactly. So,
mm,
totally. I love
mm,
saying no now, man. And then a very
mm,
like, yeah, yeah, oh, because and I think you learn throughout the journey too of how to say no, that the other person is very respectful in terms of not taking it personally either.
Mhm.
There is a tact in how you say no properly. Like a lot of people say like no. No doesn't mean no in the future, but at the moment I can't. But I'm like, it's probably no in the future too. But yeah, sometimes it's that.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
but
No, no leading on people,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Just
yeah.
saying,
Just don't want to lead on
yeah.
people. So I'm like,
mm,
no
It's
for
like,
now
yeah,
and the future. No, no.
yeah. It's like, yeah. It's just like one of those things when I was growing up. I treat you as a friend, a brother. Like, oh my goodness, goodness.
Yeah,
You know,
it's okay.
what, I remember dating a girl, and when she says like, "Oh, yeah, you'll be a good friend to me," I'm like, "Oh,
Oh no, friend zone.
oh no, friend zone."
So not knowing what we want is like traveling with no direction.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, that
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
But sometimes I
it
think
is.
that's where we start though. LinkedIn user, I assume is Nadia, but yeah, I kind of want to refer to
Mm,
their name. But yeah,
mm,
what traveling with no direction doesn't have to be a fear. I find
mm,
sometimes when people don't have a direction, they get anxious, and then fearful, and
mm,
then they close in, and then they stop moving.
mm,
Like traveling without direction is okay, like, but just keep moving. You might not know
mm,
which direction you're moving in just yet, but you'll start
mm,
picking up clues to see if it's a direction you want to explore, because we all started somewhere, right? And when you tell people that, just follow here, but it might not be that person's direction, you have to explore something else, right? And so it's up to you to kind of figure out where this kind of forest can lead. it,
mm,
it is
mm,
scary because there's no absolute. But then again,
mm,
it's like overcoming that fear. It's same thing if you want to do you want to trust this person that you just met in a new business deal?
Mm.
That's another thing too, right? Like, how do you know if this person's trustworthy enough for you to actually have a business relationship with? Then you do your due
mm,
diligence of finding out their circles. Do you have friends that have dealt with them? Is this a personality that you can
mm,
actually deal with? And there's a lot of ways to figure that out, but still there's always that like risk, like Andre was talking about in the beginning.
mm,
When you have that
mm,
relationship and a trust thing with someone else, there's always that risk. That's why you need the
mm,
agreements, contracts. This one,
mm,
well, I don't
mm.
know where I'm going, but I know where I want to arrive. Oh, nice. So
Mm.
technically,
Yeah,
I don't know, is that
great.
where you're going? Yeah.
It's
where
deep.
where do you want to arrive? Where do you want to arrive? Yeah, I'm
Mm.
curious. It was only
Yeah.
after I experienced
Mm,
extreme stress I started from, yes, always. That's that big
Mm.
breakdown to
mm,
breakthrough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
So no, these are great points. Keep sharing, friends. I think this is
Yeah,
awesome. That we're open to
Yeah.
talk.
Like speaking that
and
comment where I don't know where I'm going, but I know where I want to arrive. That to me, for me, connects with me at a deeper
mm,
level. Though I
Mm-mm.
didn't realize this when I
mm,
started out, because I had no direction. So what happened was I followed someone else's direction until I did the
Mm-mm.
work and
Yes.
figure out my direction.
mm,
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
you
mm,
got to do the work. So
Yeah.
then I
yeah,
had this expectation of how it should be, right? I was very top heavy
mm,
here in my mind, how it should look, what's going to look like. And that comment where I don't know where I'm going, maybe to surrender and let go of the expectation of how it's going to unfold.
mm,
So it's kind
Yes.
of like knowing the outcome
mm,
about what I want,
Mm-hmm.
though let the world and the universe and the magic or whatever surprise me.
mm, mm, mm,
So
100%.
I didn't
mm,
come to that beingness until much later when I started to
mm,
develop my spiritual practice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
mm.
yeah. Though I had to
Definitely,
start from the surface. As I
definitely.
get deeper, then there's a knowing of this intuition of like, okay, I'm
Yeah,
gonna let go and focus on the present moment so I can pay attention.
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. That's
Speaking of the
cool.
present moment, I just want to pick up on the comment about traveling with no direction. I think it really comes back down to how conscious are you being traveling in no direction. If you're fully
Mm-hmm.
conscious of being in a space where I'm not going anywhere, I'm not doing anything, and that's why I love the breath, and that's why my love for breath work and using breath as conscious awareness, being aware of my breath, because it allows for me to, I could be in a Starbucks kind of um, Starbucks waiting for my coffee and just being on my phone like, oh, it's waiting so long. However, I could take this moment as an opportunity to just breathe and experience this very moment that I'm standing behind this person standing in red, smelling the coffee and hearing this
Mm-hmm.
particular track and being full on jazz or whatever it is, and being fully present of that very moment, and being able to find silence within the noise. And when I find that silence within the noise, that's where insights come. And that's why I say being conscious of being lost, and sometimes being intentionally lost is a great thing, because if
Mm-hmm.
you're you
Mm.
if I appreciate the moment of being lost, I know that I'm stuck in the forest right now, but I kind of know where I want to be. I just trust that I've got the right experiences, the right people around me, and
Yeah.
eventually the lessons will come. They come when, oh, I got it, and now I got a path forward. But to be able
Yeah.
to be okay to sit in being lost, I think that in itself
Yes.
is also something to think about, because it's I know I'm constantly focusing on, I need to achieve this, I need to let go of my past, constantly for future and past, but sometimes it's all and I lose sight of the present. So I think it's great
Mm.
to just be lost, appreciate being lost, and get the wisdom in being lost in the present moment. And for me, at least, tactical thing is the breath. The breath allows me to create
That's
that
amazing.
space within me and around me as well.
Love it.
Yeah, that's
Love it.
stillness. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
such
the stillness.
a yeah. Sorry. Like, and I think
Uh,
the breath
Go
is the
ahead.
most present thing that your body can generate as emotion, right? Like you don't, it's
Mm,
a reflex too that
mm,
that if you don't work on it, it will keep moving. But when you're
mm,
conscious about it, you have this, huge control of how your body basically utilizes energy because the oxygen going in the body. There's
mm,
a lot of
mm,
physiological and scientific side that obviously proves, the benefits of breathing and then breathing
mm,
intentionally. But the other side of it is too that mental side where you can
mm,
be living now, and
mm,
truly like if you take a deep breath right at this moment, anyone that's watching right now too, and just like, look at something that's still in front of you and just imagine how
mm,
awesome everything is because you're living and you have friends. You're watching this on the internet, sharing this
mm,
conversation with Andre and Luke and I. We
mm,
have a pretty awesome life that we get to do what we're doing right now.
mm,
Yeah.
It's we
mm,
start building up this kind of a future sometimes that's so daunting or so negative that it's in the future. It hasn't even happened yet. You can always shift that. Or we live in
mm,
that past of things that has happened already that doesn't matter anymore technically. Truly there's no meaning in it until we put that meaning back on it again when we think about it.
mm,
So it's
mm,
like,
mm,
come to now, which is yeah, exactly. We need to be more than do. Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
Be, yeah. Be and then
yeah.
yeah, it's not we're not our actions. So like actions
Mm,
drive, and add to the beingness, I think.
Mm.
Momentum's the same, but again, we don't
mm,
we don't need to do anything and you can be happy right at the spot.
Yes, yes.
Um
Enjoying we hear it
mm,
all the time, right? Enjoy the journey, right?
yeah,
yeah.
It's like
exactly.
Yeah.
a reminder.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Thank you for reminding me. And I love that
Yes.
the
Mm,
reframe loop of that you had about being lost and it's okay. Because the one
Mhm.
side, Roman,
yeah.
you brought out that
Being
some
okay.
people are fearful and anxious about being lost and having no direction. Well,
Mm,
that's
Mhm.
a perspective,
mm,
isn't it? If we go
Mhm.
back to
mm,
like putting meaning on it, there's nothing good or bad. It's whatever meaning we put on it. So is the meaning serving you? And if I can see
Yeah.
the loss as being part of the process
Yeah.
from the discover,
100%.
oh my God, then I'm infusing it with power.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
accepting it as part of the process. And there's actually more than one path up the mountain.
Yeah, that's such a great
mm,
point. The intention
mm,
of what you want something to be, when you look at The Secret and stuff, how you project that intention and program it, when
mm,
you're like really aware of it, how you program it into the journey itself is an
mm,
amazingly powerful tool that
Mm.
I think I've been using my past kind of 10 years of my life and my career of, let's say, I start with the
mm,
intention of when I go into a relationship, into an environment, into a workout, into this, it's gonna be fucking awesome. I mean, just starting there, I don't
mm,
know what it can be, because it's technically I'm lost in that the forest situation when I'm faced with something
mm,
that's brand new. But
mm,
the same of how you can put a negative intention and project that in this new project. On
mm,
the flip side, you can project extreme positivity to it. The
mm,
I know people have this kind of a reasoning behind not going positive is when shit happens to that incident or
mm,
project or relationship. If you thought negatively, you will be right. And
yeah.
but if it went
Oh,
positively, it's like, oh, that's just icing on top of the cake kind of a thing. But
mm,
when you think extremely positively, what happens is if it doesn't go that way, there's this big like of difference and discrepancy of your expectation to what's the reality.
Pretty much. And the whole reason for well, you hear the quote like expectation sets up for disappointment, right? And I guess by not setting up this super positive outcome, we don't have to risk being disappointed.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm
Agreed.
very against that thought, but anyways, continue. Yeah. Andre,
Yeah,
what was that?
yeah, you're against it, right? Though I
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
like I
People are
myself,
generally that
and
way.
most people think that way, and that's why
Yeah.
we don't like look at the super positive. We rather just okay, let's keep it safe within here. I don't want to
Again,
risk.
yeah, I do. I'm compassionate and understanding that it is scary when
It
you're
is.
approaching something that um something's outcome that might not match or most likely won't match your thoughts or your intention. I understand with new things it's always that way. Where it's like, oh, I've never touched kind of this situation before or interacted with people like this, or oh, this is a totally new girl that I'm wanting to date and I don't know how to move forward this way or what is it going to be. Again, you have to just be brave to communicate. If it's with that other individual or yourself even, it's like keep moving on. Like it doesn't, you don't know the direction, but if you keep moving and trying things out, either you know it's working or you know it's not. And the thing is like checking, have metrics to check. Always be like reflect, be like, is this working towards my arrival, like where I want to be? It's if do I really want if I want like a strong relationship with an individual, let's say me and my wife, for example, I would have to establish that, everything that I'm being honest about, being open about to establish the trust. I'm willing to take the risk of it being sour for a moment, but I'd rather be clear if my intention is to build a strong relationship. So, and I ultimately, I don't think my wife would mind at all if I'm open and talk that way. And same thing with Luke. I think, relationships are that way. Same thing with Andre and the payment bill, paying the bill part. It's like you set this expectation, or like if the expectation was left too late, like in the end when the bill comes, it gets really, really awkward. Whereas in the beginning, you're like, I really, help me build a new mindset and, new thought patterns that are amazing to building my business. Let me take care of you for this one. And then if you really see that there's discomfort in the lady, be like, take the next one. So then it makes it really equal. That's what I do. Usually when I pay first, I'll be like, just take the next one. It always sounds good because they're like, okay, they wanted to pay, but fine, I'll take the next one. Or the other way around. If the person pays, I'm always like, I'll take the next one. I say that right away so that there's this kind of low expectation of like it doesn't mean much other than we're here to like be good friends, having great conversations and building.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Though to add to that spin too, and I do that as well, right?
Yeah.
And I make it so that I remember, because there's a times where it doesn't follow through and there's resentment being built and there's an awkward pause of like, when do I bring this up?
Exactly.
So when I say, okay, I'll get the next one, I
Yeah.
lodge it into my memory banks and I make sure I get the next one.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be on the other side. So I changed it. So instead of doing that, I just say, thank you.
Yeah. Accept.
No expectation, no setup for
Receive.
anything. Just thank you.
Yeah. 100%. It's like a compliment. I think people don't take compliments well too. It's like, wow, Romy, you look so good today. Or like, Luke, you look amazing. Or Andre, wow, that shirt on you is like tight in a good way. So, and then people will be like, yeah, no, I'm working out, but not really. And then, it's like kind of deflecting the compliment in different ways. I'm
Receive
like,
it.
learn how to take it. And then go for,
Good night, Elka. Lost you, Romy. Hang on.
Yeah, we're just waiting for it to come up there. We lost her.
You
Romy, you're
receiving
back.
it because it's something good that they want to give you, right? And the thing is, if you block that gift, it's a rejection to them. So you kind of have to allow that flow back and forth. I've done it where people have paid like twice and the next meal because I forgot. They're like, "Oh, who paid last time?" I'm like, "I can't remember," and then they still took it. I'm like, "Oh yes, that's awesome." I'm like, "Thank you so much." So, but no, this payment thing, yeah, it's super super interesting.
Yeah, I love that quote
And
there.
that
So
made me
you
think.
cannot. Oh,
Give me
yeah.
one
Go ahead,
second.
Luke. You had a thought there. I was
Oh
going to move
no,
on to a different thing, but you had
okay.
to probably share a
Oh,
thought.
okay,
Yeah, go
cool.
ahead.
And we can move like what you guys were just sharing, and then we can move on to the quote. You cannot discover new oceans.
Yeah.
Oh
If that
yes.
was the quote, but that made me think of expectation. What you're sharing about expectations, setting expectations at the start, and I think back of you know job interviews. Let's say if you're trying to get a job, and it's a chicken or egg situation where you need the experience to get the job, but you need the job for the
Yeah,
experience,
yeah, yeah. That's
and
right.
you
Yeah.
don't want to be too
Shit.
you
I know.
don't want to be too honest at the start and saying I actually don't really know.
I don't know anything.
You know, I don't know. I don't actually know, but I kind of do. But I'm trying to waffle along to say that I do. So I think it's a case of finding that balance and being honest. Like at the start, hey, this is my experience. I've been doing this 1 year. I may not know all of these things that you require me for, but what I'm willing to do is commit the time and effort to learning all about
Mm,
it so that I can be a valued employee. I can add,
100%.
I can add, and it's about being honest, being
100%.
trustworthy. And I think that
Mhm.
I remember back in the day when I was trying to waffle on something that I didn't really know, trying to get the job. And then when I finally got the job, I did get the job. I was out of wits and I did not know how to handle the situation. So it could
Wow.
backfire as well. So I think it all comes back down to topic of conversation: honest, trustworthy, and Andre, you can launch into the quote. Your
Oh man,
thought to the
I mean
quote.
that quote there is beautiful by Alka. Though I want to share another quote that
Sure.
just triggered my mind because which reminds me of what Warren Buffett says. Look for three things in a person:
Mm,
intelligence, energy, and integrity. If they don't have the
mm,
last one, don't even bother with the first two.
yeah,
Look back into
Mm-hmm.
the
agreed.
interview. I may not know anything. Do I display the character that I can grow? I'm a growth-minded person.
Yeah,
Do I
yeah.
follow through? Is there trust there? That's all that
Mm.
matters. What companies
Mm-hmm.
are looking for is seeing if you're someone that's trustworthy, that has integrity,
Yeah.
willing to be
Trust.
open mind
Again.
growing.
That is key.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
key.
That is so true. That is
The
so
skills
true.
can be picked up. The skills and the whole framework and the SOPs can be learned. But you gotta
Yeah.
trust this person, man. I
Yeah,
think that's
yeah,
the key.
totally. Well, sometimes the skills don't get picked up, and then yeah, they get fired still. But
Yep,
but yeah, so
it's
it's
true.
just
That's another
it's like,
thing
oh,
altogether.
you're a
Yep,
good person, but you
Probation
suck at
period,
it.
yep,
right? That's where I got the
yeah,
probation period.
It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, we
yeah.
wish you could keep you because you're nice, but you really are not that
But
skillful. Yeah, shit.
yeah, sorry.
But no, that's hilarious. But no, all jokes aside, like I think exactly like the point is, just using our relationship here as an example. It's like this trust
Mm,
that we've established so quickly from our first interactions with
mm,
each other. And it's journeying through your own life to discover who you are, your purpose, that you can communicate that clearly,
mm,
and you can also communicate what you don't want really, really clearly. That you
mm,
you naturally radiate confidence, but also trustworthiness surrounding the topic
mm,
that you're radiating. And that's why people can
mm,
latch on really, really quickly and trust you right away, because you're no bullshit around, other stuff. You don't talk about everything and anything. You have a
mm,
you have a principle and the core values that Alco was sharing, a while back too
mm,
in the conversation, right? So
mm,
and people love that when they know this person has a direction. It doesn't matter if it's their direction or not, as long as
Mm.
they know that
mm,
this person's so confident and they know how to display themselves in that confident manner, they're like, wow, this person has a lot of charisma. And I
mm,
want that form of confidence in my own direction.
Mm.
And that's
mm,
kind of where I am now. It's, I see people like you, Luke, and Andre, of your confidence in what you guys do. I'm like, wow, it's very charismatic. And I'm like, I know you guys will fight for me for some reason. I don't know. It might not be, but it's like, but that's a feeling. I'm like,
definitely.
oh, these guys will fight for me if I need the
Mm,
support. And same thing, I
Mm.
do the same for you guys, right?
mm.
And it's weird because we've never actually met in person, Luke. Andre, I
Well,
have because he,
exactly.
yeah, yeah. But I have this kind of
One day, one day.
yeah, 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 that I can fight for. One day I'll be able to fight for you in person if you go in if you get in trouble. So, but no, this has been a great topic, really easy to talk to, and
Mm,
we have hit
mm,
kind of our hour mark. But all three of us have a goal of wanting to help everyone here in our own ways too. I'm having a course this weekend called Be Your Legend. I will share the screen really quickly.
Sure.
If you guys can see this, share. Burp, burp, burp. Let me turn off the chat for now. Wow, so small.
Yeah.
Give me a second. Can you guys see the screen? There we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Be Your Legend.
Now we can. Yep.
So right now, it's supercharging your personal branding with the LEAP framework without wasting time and money. So LEAP stands for Learn, Experiment, Associate, and Perfect. So this is kind of the ways that I've been dealing with my own relationship with people, with businesses, with projects. And I help people learn how to use, first of all, like technology, how to do graphic design, how to learn about image, and also how do you associate yourself with cool people like Luke and Andre to really amplify your own messaging with people. Because a lot of people don't know how to exponentially burst through to the new level. They kind of feel like they have to
Mm,
work their way up. But through
mm,
association, if you find the right people to associate with, you can jump really quickly. But you have to establish your own brand first before you can go out and explore these associations, because people usually want to associate with awesomeness too. So you have to have your own message quite clear. And that's where I help you here in terms of like this lighting situation, having a good microphone, how do you speak properly, but also how do you do presentations. And it's a 3-day event, so it's quite long. It's very, very good value because all I'm charging is $77 for this. I do have the link that I'll
amazing.
post right here. um, but yes, so the first day we discover what is your why, where are you at, and where do you want to be. So kind of like that, the arrival point of where you want to be is quite important. So we spend about a good hour to an hour and a half just discovering that. Second day we talk about the tools in design and photos, presentation, and social media. How do you use this to amplify your own branding? The part two of day two is talking about how you present yourself. The first image that people see is your profile, so your headshot. How awesome is
Mm,
that? I know Luke's gonna be doing his photography tomorrow, so I'm expecting some cool
Nice.
images. They better be good. The photographer better be good. Otherwise, I'll be judging a lot. And then next is
mm,
designing that banner that most of the platforms, the social media platforms, have to have a message on there too. Then how do you create posts to stand out? And then creating short form videos, which are super popular right now for like TikTok, Instagram Reels, and like Facebook Reels even. Then third day, we talk about how to use all that hyped up new branding that you have to connect with people and collaborate. The conversations that I use to really make people feel comfortable and speak from a place of wanting to assist and
mm,
help people gain, truly give, right? So, and then yeah, there'll be quite conversation heavy for day three, and then the third
mm,
day, third day part two will be what drives you and what can keep help you move forward, and how you can engage with me a bit more. But yeah, check the link out.
love it.
And I would
Love
love
it, Romy.
to help people. No, thanks so much, Luke and Andre, for sharing your channels too. But yes, I will pass
Mm.
it on to.
Oh,
Oh
wow.
wait,
Yeah, no, you're back. Okay.
yeah, I know. It's like bye, like peace out.
Oh my
Check.
god.
That's like, I'll pass it on. Bye. No. I'm just kidding. But yeah, like I know both Andre and Luke have also programs that you can help people with that
Mm.
you guys can share too if you'd like. You don't have to. I don't want it to be all that you have
Yeah,
to feel like
Go
doing
ahead,
absolutely.
it.
Andre.
Yeah, go ahead,
Yeah,
Andre.
so I'm starting another mental fitness group. And
Awesome.
what mental fitness is about is your mental hygiene. So just like a gym membership, we
Yeah.
go there to keep in tip-top shape. And if we don't work out our muscles, guess what happens, right? It gets weaker, right? It
Mm,
atrophies. So it's sort of like your mind muscle. This program helps you
Mhm.
build your mind muscle for the whole point of, we talked about the fear of rejection. We talked about the judgment. It's about
Mhm.
identifying what I call saboteurs, and we always will experience it. So the question is, how quickly can you recover? And the speed and the depth that you recover is based on the strength of your mental muscle. So this
Mhm.
program that we're starting, it's an 8-week program, building another group right now, goes into the steps of working out your mind muscle so that you improve your ability to recover faster. You
Nice.
improve your ability to bounce back from a circumstance and turning it into a gift and opportunity and operating from the positive side. So really mental resiliency all packed into that program.
Do you have a link that you can share with
But
us, or
Oh, absolutely. I
Yeah,
would
yeah.
love to share with, I'm
Yeah.
going to put this right here.
Sure,
Is
sure.
a saboteur assessment. And I know we all
Nice.
did it. It takes about
Oh,
5 minutes
nice.
to do.
Amazing.
love it.
Great start to be able
Yes.
to identify who are the top cast of characters that are getting in my way. And
Yeah,
the
yeah.
powerful thing is you get to understand where it comes from, the original survivor function of it and the characteristics. So the next
Mhm.
part is like, okay, so how do I tackle this? Well, the
Mhm.
simple program of the mental fitness breaks it down as first 3 simple steps, intercepting it, right?
Mhm.
Labeling it, doing what we call the PQ rep, and kind of mentioning the breath work, getting into the present moment so that we can respond with our sage. We call it inner Jedi training. So I think the saboteur assessment is a great place to start.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah. So the link,
Great.
everyone go do it. It's very, it's an amazing system too, and a great, very well designed system that I love.
Mhm.
And we all discovered kind of
Mhm.
our saboteurs that are kind of impeding and
Very much so.
resisting moving us forwards. But no, thank you so much for the share. And Luke, let me put you in hot seat. Ooh, sexy,
See,
sexy.
well,
Nice.
well. To be honest, right now I don't really have much to share. But in a month's time, maybe
Okay.
I will, because
Yeah.
I'm in the process. As you've seen my kind of name over there, Free Human Project. So I'm in the process of building Free Human Project, and
Nice.
it's basically what you just shared, Andre. It's about helping people become physically, mentally, and emotionally resilient. Because, of course, the last 2 years, with lockdowns and the pandemic, people have been caught out. Whether it's health-wise, whether it's relationships, whether it's also job security. So the whole purpose of Free Human is
Yeah.
to create a tribe or help you to a certain degree become a free human through these 4 pillars: physical function, a united family, entrepreneurial fire, and finally fueling. I say fueling, right? How you feel, because how you feel boosts your immune system, prevents you from getting, recovering from viruses, allows you to live a long and healthy life as well. So these 4 pillars are the key aspects to becoming a free human in a modern world. So that is kind of what I'm building right now. So there's a lot of moving pieces, as you can imagine. But down the track, I will be sharing a little bit more about free human and our 3 video series about how to master the matrix, how to achieve
Amazing.
fat loss, but also and flow states, tap into flow states through all of what I
Nice.
shared. So
Yeah.
fat loss, flow
Beautiful.
states, and mastering the matrix. Look out
So
for that.
yes, Enter the Matrix. Nice, good movie, by the way.
Yes, enter.
Um,
I love it.
but yeah.
Not the
So
last one.
yeah, I know, I know. That's awesome. Last one's pretty good too. But anyways, not selling
Yeah.
movies here. But no, friends that
Yeah.
are watching,
Mm.
will constantly be bringing you a lot of goodies that are coming from the 3 of us too. Let me balance this image. Oh, we're all the same now. Luke was a little
Great.
too, but anyways, but yes, we will also be having some special guests along the way for the next, I believe, the next few episodes that we'll be having. But yes, we will open up the floor for conversation. So bring your questions, your thoughts. We're all here to join you and have a great conversation together. And there's no hard feelings on anything either. We're pretty much open books
Mhm.
here. Like obviously, we do want to
Definitely.
be polite and cognizant, and be respectful of each other's kind of position on things. But talk about anything. I might not agree with
Mm.
you, but I'll make a point of trying your perspective too. So I'm here to assist, and yeah, thank you, my friends. Oh, Luke, do you have a chance to quickly do a tour? Excited.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Oh yeah.
sweet.
Yeah, yeah,
Love it.
yeah,
Tour
yeah,
of,
yeah.
tour of the gym.
Let's do it.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's,
Quick, quick,
I'll
quick.
take off
Hopefully
Feeling
it's
my
good.
giddy.
take off
Yeah,
my
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No.
all right,
That's where
take off
Andre
my
lives, especially when he's sad.
virtual background.
Hey, the best
Can you
best
see?
spot is like checking out new gyms for me. I don't
All
even
right.
work
Oh
out. I
yeah.
walk
All right.
around for
Oh, that already looks nice. Holy crap! Look at that
Can
vaulted
you see?
ceiling.
Can you see? Can you see?
Yeah,
Okay.
it looks
The reason
amazing.
why I joined this gym life is because of this break COVID. you can see the Ohio
Oh, you
Olympic
got a
rings,
turf?
the
Oh,
gymnastic rings, and then there's the
cool.
functional area,
Mm.
and
Wow.
then there's like all the gym stuff there and the fighting side, and then
Holy
and they use
crap.
like illegal weights, and I mean they've got tires. So this is where I normally train. I do my calisthenics, animal-based movements, because I need lots of space to be an animal. So
Yeah.
so that's a space. That's a space for me. So this is my space. Welcome to my gym, my
Wow.
office this morning. So
Beautiful.
I'm really grateful to be able to be here this
What's the
morning.
name? What's the
And
name of
of
the
course,
gym?
it's called Pure Fitness. It's I'd say one of the high end gyms in one of the more high end gyms in Singapore, Hong
Nice.
Kong. It started off in Hong Kong, and
Cool.
yeah, they've got of course group classes and everything. So can't wait to get started. Can't wait to get started.
So cool. Yeah, we got to visit Andre when we're there. It's good to
Oh
meet
Definitely,
man,
some.
full day workouts, 100%.
yeah,
You know,
I know.
let's
It's
do
like
it.
go to
Let's
Singapore to
do it.
work out.
yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
like, this is a gym day, and then
exactly.
come back. It's a freaking like $3,000 trip for a gym pass, basically day pass.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome though.
Wait,
Would love to totally do that.
and then we can do a stream right here on the
Oh
seats and all three
yeah,
of it.
I think that'd be great. I have to do that, like be present with just friends and actually,
Yeah,
just have our mics on a round table kind of thing and just chit chat.
definitely.
It was such a good feeling. But no, appreciate you guys, fam. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna I have to rest soon because it's an early morning for me tomorrow. But appreciate everyone that has stayed thus far
Hmm.
conversation too. And
You.
yeah, hopefully we all come from love and abundance and
Hmm.
quickly can establish trust and be present with the people around us and yourself too. I think that, starting from trusting yourself, do some really small goals that you can achieve right away so that you can trust yourself and then you can move forward from there. But you can comment under here too, or wherever this is going to be displayed on the social media platforms. But thank you again, Andre. Thank you again, Luke. You
Yeah.
guys are
Thank
fantastic as
you,
always. So
Crush your
okay,
workout, Luke.
and you.
We will meet
Yeah.
up.
enjoy your workouts. Yeah, you're gonna